Welcome to InfoSource, a presentation of Berkshire Healthcare Systems, a not-for-profit, consumer-centered organization committed to fulfilling the health and residential needs of the communities across Massachusetts we serve. I'm Jenny Sutherland, your host. Thanks for coming on. I have my dear friend and colleague, June Green. Thank you. And you've brought John Iovino. Iovino.
There you go.
Good job.
Look at that.
Good job. Very phonetic.
Very important. Very cool name. And John, you were saying some of your friends call you what?
Johnny I or Johnny Val because of all the vowels in the last name.
If I had an alias, I would go with any of those three, just to keep people guessing about that. So, John, you're here to talk about a foundation that is named for your parents.
Yes, it's the Frank and Rosemary Iovino Caring for Children Foundation.
All right. And can you tell us about that, please?
Sure. Well, I guess the story starts in 1996. I was living in the Boston area, and it was around the holidays, so I was in a mall shopping for basically my family.
Sure.
And as I was going around the mall, I just really kind of felt empty in shopping for my family because we were all, blessed and doing well, and it just felt like the spirit of Christmas was missing in that. So I was compelled to, I wanted to get something for, a child who might be sick,
Sure.
During the holidays. And so I went into a KB toy store that was there. So there was a Berkshire connection when it all started. And I had sort of a 4-year-old boy in mind. I thought that was a good age. So I found this Matchbox suitcase full of Matchbox cars.
Okay.
Had a ton of Matchbox cars in it. It was for like $40, so I bought it, and I brought it home, and I made some calls to Boston Children's Hospital, thinking there'd probably be someone there who could use it. And I started making calls, and I probably got transferred 5 or 6 times, but I finally got a social worker who said that they had a child who could use it. So on my way home for Christmas that year, I dropped it off at Children's Hospital and thought, wow, that was great. I'm glad I did that. I'll do it again. And then when I came back from Christmas, I listened to my messages on the machine, and there was a message from the social worker, and she was thanking me for the gift, and she told me that the gift went to a child who had diabetes and whose mom had recently passed away, and that him and his siblings were living with a grandmother, and they didn't have any gifts, and that was the only gift that they had that year for the holidays. So when I listened to that message, I was like, like goosebumps, and I just thought, wow, that's the best $40 I ever spent. And I was very social in Boston. I knew a ton of people. They also called me the mayor. And I knew like my friends would love to do this, but who's going to make 5 or 6 calls like I did? And I thought maybe next year what I would do is if I could pave the road for my friends that I know they'll want to do it.
I mean, I think that's the true thing people want to do, and sometimes they just can't get the ball rolling, and you got it rolling for everybody.
Well, and what it was the story. I mean, I felt good about giving the gift before, but it was the story that really drove home the difference I was making. So the next year, when I called into Children's Hospital, my whole vision was, could I find social workers who would write these stories up beforehand, and that would drive everything. And after 5 or 6 calls again, I was transferred to the Children's Hospital AIDS program. And I talked to the social worker, and I told her what I was doing. It was a leap of faith for both of us, sort of to quote, a movie, The Field of Dreams. If you write these stories, they will come. And they did. They wrote up 25 stories, and I put out a big email to my friends, and that year we helped 25 kids, and it's been growing. This grassroots effort has grown organically ever since, and last year we helped over 400 children.
That's awesome.
From all throughout Massachusetts, Boston, out to Western Mass, and upstate New York.
That's awesome. I have to say, I think that might be the best $40 I've ever heard anybody spend, because look at what it's grown into.
Exactly.
You know, so that's amazing. And June, you guys benefit from this foundation.
Oh, yeah.
So,
John and I were talking about the first day we met, because John called me up. I run the pediatric palliative care program through hospice care in the Berkshires, and it's a program for children with life-limiting illnesses. And John called me up and said, "Hey, I've got this this charity that I run, and I'm thinking we could connect together, and I might be able to help your kids and their families." And I was just over the top excited. I told John, I was telling everybody all day, I was so excited about having a charity that was going to look to not only sponsor our kids who are very medically fragile and sick, but also their siblings.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know? How did you guys end up doing this? Did you start it with the siblings and the kids right from the beginning?
The first year was just the kids with the illness, but the 2 social workers at Children's Hospital AIDS program were instrumental in helping me figure it out, because I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah.
And they said, you know, these kids who have the illnesses, their siblings are going through a ton of stressors watching their sibling with the disease, and they're in the same economically challenged situations. And most charities just focus on the child with the condition. So I said, yeah, no, that is fine with me. I had an open palette to draw
create
on.
what you want.
And they also suggested that these kids growing up in New England coming from tough conditions, they get toys and stuff, but they don't have the proper clothing to handle the winter.
True.
So my charity is unique in that the stories are the special sauce. It drives everything, but focusing also on the siblings, and the first priority being clothing, and then the stories will also give special requests because it's Christmas and kids want to have fun stuff too. So our sponsors always buy some fun stuff too, but at least they have a good combination of both.
And I think that's important to support both the fun and the practicality, because you can give kids toys and then they are so self-conscious that they don't have a winter coat or these other things. And again,
or they don't fit in.
They don't fit in, and that's almost as painful as not getting it. You know, it's to me more painful than not getting a toy. So I think that's beautiful. I like that you support the family, the other kids too. One of the things when Jude and I talk is about how these illnesses affect the whole family, and how painful and what I don't even know what they understand about what's going on, but I think it's wonderful that you do that as well. Now, last year you guys partnered, and how many kids benefited from the foundation?
In Berkshire County, we had
County.
47 kids.
You had 47 kids. Okay.
We had 47, which was way more than I think either one of us thought it was going to be at first.
Yeah, to take a step back, I mean, quoting another movie, when I called June, it was like Jerry Maguire. You had me at hello. She was she was just
That's
so.
June. Oh yeah.
She was just so ready to go. I didn't have to say anything, and I thought, well, maybe we'll start out with like 10 or 15 kids. But
that is what you told me.
Last year was our 20th anniversary, and we had a really good response. And I ended up needing more kids, and we ended up taking all the kids that they had at the time. So. Yeah,
you started off by saying, when you first started it, it was you with the $40, and great story. And then you reached out to your friends. How do people find out about, donating and participating in?
Yeah, it's been a grassroots effort, pretty much word of mouth. Nobody, I mean, I'm blessed to have so many people make this happen. From Rachel, the VP, who was one of the social workers at Children's Hospital that first year, to my brother, who runs the 50 kids out of Albany, and my webmaster, Mike McCutcheon. But
all volunteers.
That's where I was going with this, is that we all do it, all volunteer.
Because you all have other jobs.
We have our own
other
primary
things to
jobs.
do. Yeah.
So it's all word of mouth, and it's just been a blessing to see my friends embrace it like I did and spread the word. I have a friend, Mike Borick, who we were fortunate enough that he moved jobs quite frequently and
Yep.
brought the
To
charity
different
to
oh, very good.
all these pharmaceutical companies in Cambridge. So we have about 10 corporations
That's
that do
great.
it, and I have a ton of original friends that were at my original wrapping party
Yeah.
in '97 who still do. I mean, it's such a great, the stories, the cause is so great, they just want to do it every year.
Keep
And then
doing it.
they bring more people in.
Yeah. So word of mouth.
Yep.
If you hear about it, so people are hearing about it now,
Right.
and we're going to give contact information in just a couple. The other thing is,
I want to tell you a story.
I know we're going to get to your story
Okay.
because that'll get even more people to want to reach out. But before you tell a story, I'm going to say we're going to keep John. We're going to take a quick break, come back,
Okay.
we're going to tell a story.
Perfect.
And we're going to have some more conversation about this. And I'm going to ask John a pretty interesting question. So we're going to take a break, halftime. You're going to watch a little bit about hospice care in the Berkshires. And when we come back, we're going to have John and June still. All right, be back in a minute.
Nestled in the center of the picturesque Berkshires of western Massachusetts, hospice care in the Berkshires has served the county for more than 30 years. Hospice Care in the Berkshires is a proud affiliate of Berkshire Healthcare, the state's largest nonprofit provider of nursing, rehabilitation, and senior housing in Massachusetts. Berkshire Healthcare is committed to fulfilling the health and residential needs of the people in the communities we serve. Hospice Care in the Berkshires offers comfort, compassion, and the emotional and spiritual support families and patients value when faced with life-limiting illness.
When my mother-in-law was diagnosed with terminal cancer, we had hospice come directly to our home. It's where she resided and wanted to have her care done. It was a tough time for the family because it was a shock to find out the limited amount of time that she had. But when we started working with hospice, they came in and worked with us wonderfully. They helped us navigate through all the administrative tasks. They told us about all the services that were available to both the patient and the family, the social workers, the home aides, the nurses, and really helped us get through this tough time.
Our caring, dedicated, and experienced team of professionals supports patients and families where they live, whether it's at home, a nursing home, or assisted and independent living facilities. This team includes hospice-trained physicians, hospice nurses, family counselors, spiritual counselors, and hospice aides.
Oftentimes people ask us, why do you work for hospice? Why would you do this? Why do you work with dying patients? And I think most of the people on our team would say that it's an honor to work with people at end of life. It's an honor to try to support families and patients through end of life, to make sure that they are cared for with dignity, that they die peacefully, that their families are supported through that process. It's our goal to make it even a little bit better if we can. We can't change the outcome, but to be there and to support families through the process and patients through the process in every aspect is really important.
And we do try to support both the physician and the patient and family at this time in their lives in whatever location that patient and family want to be.
And I just knew that when I retired, I wanted to be part of helping people that were dying and didn't have someone to be there to support them. I knew that that's something I wanted to do.
Our incredible team of hospice-trained volunteers are instrumental to the support we offer families. Our team of over 100 volunteers helps with transportation to appointments, running errands, and respite for the caregivers.
When you know that you can make a difference and that person is secure and feels not as scared because they have someone to sit there to hold their hand, I just can't tell you how, you just feel like you're floating on a cloud when you leave. And to be there when they actually die and to know that you've made it easier for them, you just can't explain that.
Hospice Care in the Berkshires is grateful to the many people who make donations. All the funds raised support the agency's community programs and services, an integral part of how we serve Berkshire County.
Bereavement services at Hospice Care in the Berkshires are funded through philanthropic dollars from the community, and that would include donations, memorial donations, and also community events that we have, such as our gala, our Remembrance Walk that we have every September, and that allows us to provide bereavement services to all members of the community, not just folks who were hospice patients' families.
I would definitely recommend hospice care in the Berkshires to other families. Again, the range of services was wonderful. In fact, I love the organization so much that I now volunteer and help other families who are going through it.
Choosing hospice isn't about giving up on life. It's about choosing the support needed in order to live a full life right now. For more information about how hospice care in the Berkshires can help, call us at 413-443-2994.
Welcome back to InfoSource. With me is John Iovino.
Very good.
And June Green, and we are talking about Caring for Children's Foundation. We ended with you wanted to tell stories, and I love your stories. So June, can you please tell us a story?
I want to talk about one of the families we had last year who benefited from this wonderful charity. And I have to say, this is like the easiest. I've been a social worker for 35 years. This is hands down the easiest charity I have ever worked with.
Thank you.
Where I feel like every dime, every effort goes to these kids and their families. But we had one family last year. This family has a child who, at one point, now it's a little better, but at one point she was having up to 20 seizures a day. She's very much outlived what her expected lifespan was. It's been, truly a nightmare for her family, and that 20 seizures a day, if you imagine what that looks like in an infant now up to, she's about 9 or 10 now. And she lives with her parents, and she has a sibling who struggles because they live kind of out in the middle of nowhere, and it's hard because it's a big effort just to go into town to do things and whatever, and obviously that much more so if you've got a child who's having seizures that frequently. So they don't get out a whole lot. So her sibling does struggle with, it's kind of hard having somebody in your family who everything basically has to revolve around her. And that family, I truly believe, would not have had, I know, because they've told us, they would not have had a Christmas last year if it hadn't been for Caring for Children. And they were, and the beautiful thing about the charity is we got all the gifts well before Christmas, such that we were able to bring them to the family, and they were able to put it all to the side. And I know she's not going to be watching, so I can say this. They put it all to the side because that was the gifts from Santa Claus. That was their Christmas. And there were gifts, clothing, and they needed everything. And so they got clothing, and they got some toys for the kids. Her sibling got toys, and her sibling was like, over the top because kind of used to the typical charity where everything's focused on the sick child. And but my favorite part of that story was you called me up and said, I need more. The people who are sponsoring this family want more ideas about what to get. And I said, well, they got this therapy dog recently, and so I ended up putting on the list of things for this family the things for the therapy dog. And so it was a way for the kids to give a gift to the dog. And they sent a bunch of, they got a bag full of dog toys and treats and all this stuff. And it was just wonderful because it gave them an opportunity to not only receive, but to give to their little dog and to, really experience all of that. So that is one of my favorite stories. And I was telling John earlier, they are over the top excited that they're going to benefit from the charity again this year. And very excited about that because it is going to make their Christmas. Yeah, it will.
I mean, I'm really hearing that is their Christmas, and involving the sibling and the dog. And here are these kids who, there's such a gift to give, and they're giving to the dog is a big deal.
Well, I'd like to say that there's a lot of work that goes into doing this, and I'm not a martyr by any stretch of the imagination, but there's so much that I get back from it. I mean, to have a front row seat, to watch the generosity and the compassion and the love that all these volunteers that do this charity, it's not out of the question that the kids get taken care of, and then the parents get taken care of. And it's really the stories. They're just so compelling, and people just want to do whatever they can, which was how I felt when I heard that story way back when. So it's a win-win for everybody, the way it works.
I really hear that you had that aha moment or the sliding glass door moment, as you called it, when you did your first act. But I want to ask you, John, overall, I mean, it's a beautiful thing that you've done. And I know it's not just you. I know there's a lot of people involved. I know you're giving free your time. But for you personally, how has this changed you?
Well, it's allowed me to just stay grounded. I knew at an early age that I was never truly happy unless I was combining all the blessings that I have in my life with giving back and doing something for others. And I always knew when I was doing something for others that's when I felt complete. And that's just how I am. And so this completes me. Go back to Jerry Maguire.
Yeah, no, it's true. I mean, you said at the start of your original story on the show today that, here you are at Christmas. You have what could be just a big perceived blessing, your life, and you felt alone and empty. And here you changed this, but not only changed your life, but all these other people. So I hope other people latch on to this, reach out to you, but also come up with other things to do too, because if you didn't do that, this wouldn't be going on right now.
Right.
So I want to say, there was quite a few kids and families helped last year. There's going to probably be more that you could add to the list this year, yes? More families?
I hope so. We
just
haven't fully negotiated that this year.
Because I'm working my way over to a point here.
Last year, we actually were able to benefit all the kids in our pediatric palliative care program, and Moments House gave us some families that they knew about.
And that's a beautiful place too.
And local charity for cancer survivors, and they're definitely aware of some families that are struggling and have a sick child. So, we were able to serve a lot of kids who are hoping to do more and hoping for more sponsors in Berkshire County.
Well, and that's sometimes June. I mean,
more
you and I
donations,
are like because
like donations.
Yeah, there's not really any sponsors from Berkshire County.
Well, no, there are.
Well,
I mean, I've been out, the funny thing, I've been out here about 15 years, and I know I have met a lot of people.
You've networked a little.
And I've networked a little bit, and there have been some people, but it's amazing how many people I don't think were with me in the beginning know that I do this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I'm assuming they're going to see this and be like, oh, I had no idea. So I did know last year that it was imperative that I have some Berkshire presence if we're going to get more people, which is why the PPC program has been phenomenal. And I'm hoping that, just word of mouth and situations like this will certainly help.
That's great. June, you I was going to ask you to talk about the pediatric palliative care. And I think this has morphed into the benefit.
I'm happy focusing on caring for children.
Yes.
I mean, pediatric palliative care is very much near and dear to my heart.
And mine
I'm just
as well.
counting on another show.
Yeah, and I'll have you back on this. But I just want to say that this foundation works and coincides with that part of what you do.
Absolutely.
So I just want to acknowledge that because it could be a little confusing, and that this is a program that's open to the community. So if folks are wanting to find out, maybe
they can
reach out to you.
And I certainly will connect people. I'm at Hospice Care in the Berkshires, 443-2994. And people can call me, or directly they can go on the Caring for Children website and be able to contact you through the website, right, John?
Yep, the website's frankCCC.com. They can drop me an email there if they're interested in sponsoring, and you can make donations there year-round.
Okay.
So there's many ways to be involved.
And the foundation, this
a
is
501c3, so it's all tax deductible.
Tax deductible, so it's really a win all over the road.
Absolutely.
And your foundation I know this time of the year with the holidays, and it's not just the Christmas holidays, it's all the holidays.
Right. Yep.
But there's other things that you do throughout the year.
Yes, thankfully with our holiday effort is our largest effort, but through that we do raise enough money to be able to do some help the children throughout the year, because certainly they need help throughout the year with whether it's educational or enrichment programs or just situations that are challenging and needy, and we have funds to be able to help them, and we do that all the time.
That's awesome. Can you give me an example of something that you might do for somebody?
Well, just recently, just this week, June called me up, and there's, well, you could probably talk more about the child.
Right. I called John because we had a family in the community who has a child who has over-the-top complicated medical conditions, and most of our families all have to go to Bay State or Boston Children's for medical care, and this family has been going back and forth since July to Boston Children's and Franciscan's Hospital, and a couple times to Bay State as well, because this child had got diagnosed with a 2.5 centimeter kidney stone. If you imagine what that looks like, and lots of pain, lots of issues, and she can't communicate. She can't talk for herself. So her family really needed to be there at the hospital. So her parents basically have been taking turns going back and forth to Boston Children's, and as you can imagine, that gas bill gets pretty high.
Yes.
Going back and forth, and they've been very dedicated to this child. She's only 6 years old, and they're very dedicated to her care. So I called up John and I said, hey, is there any way Caring for Children could help out with the travel they have to do, because it is extremely expensive for them. So I called John up, and John talked to his board. And
it was pretty quick and easy, a no-brainer. We were able to get them $500 worth of mobile gift cards to use for gas while she's in the hospital for the next month. So yeah, those scenarios are just so easy.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm so grateful that you can do that for them.
I'm grateful too.
I mean, I'm trying not to lose it through this show, and this is where I want to lose it. I can't imagine not, you want to be there for your kid, especially this young lady, this little girl who can't communicate and that stuff. So.
And John says so easy. I have to comment to that because he said it's so easy, and I'm like, it's not easy to get a $500 gas card with a phone call. And that is exactly what happened. I call, we talk on the phone a couple times, and I've got $500 worth of gas cards to give this family.
And
from
I'm
my
thankful
perspective, that's not easy.
that we could,
No,
we could make that
so
happen.
hear
That's
that.
why that's why I was saying I get so much out of it, because I can do stuff like that.
And I so hear that, just incredible idea, incredible work. Not only you, because there's a lot of people supporting it.
And I'd like to just shout out to my family. Clearly, taking on an extra full-time job during this time puts a lot of pressure on them, and they're very supportive. My wife and my kids.
Good.
So
Good. I think it's great. Well, thank you both. I want to give you an opportunity to give your contact information real quick again.
Sure. Probably the easiest thing is the website, frankccc.com. There's a way to send me emails there. And if you're looking to sponsor or have questions, probably dropping an email is the best way.
Thank you, John. And June, if people want to reach out to you?
Yeah, they can contact me through Hospice Care in the Berkshires. It's 443-2994, and it's June Green, easy name to remember, hopefully. And because I suspect I'm going to be looking for more families to help above and beyond, and we really want to be able to help people and be there for them.
All right, excellent. Thank you so much. I want to thank you out there for watching. InfoSource is a presentation of Berkshire Healthcare Systems. Until next time, I wish you good health and good life. Bye-bye.